Soccer Story isn't a sequel to Golf Story. It's not even from the same developer. But it is similar to Golf Story in many ways, in that it's an RPG built around a sport, but instead of swinging a ball with all your problems, you're kicking it instead. It has some fun challenges, a charming narrative, but will the football mechanic keep you engaged? That's what I'm here to answer in this review of Soccer Story. To preface this, I encountered a game-breaking bug that has stopped me from progressing. I'm about 60% of the way through the game, so I will review what I played up until then. The developers are aware of the bug and are actively looking into it. As reviewers, it's our job to steer you towards games that we think are worth your time and money, but also steer you clear of games that aren't. So as of right now, I can't recommend Soccer Story regardless of how much fun I was having. The story of Soccer Story is quite a charming one. There's a big football match going on, and then the calamity happens and all the players and pitch disappear, and then from then on, football is banned. Except for the ultra-rigged Soccer Inc., which is hilariously run by Bep Jatter. And if you know anything about the FIFA organisation, you can see exactly what this game is trying to say. There are a few references for football fans throughout the game, like a couple arguing over if it should be called soccer or football, and we all know the correct answer to that question. While I wouldn't say the writing is necessarily funny, the game has a comedic tone that kept me amused throughout. The first tournament you play is against Toddlers FC and OAP Athletic, and the absurdity of slide tackling toddlers and old age pensioners in a football game was great. Much like Golf Story, Soccer Story is an RPG at heart. You explore different areas, complete quests, upgrade stats, and try your hand at some football related challenges, and also find plenty of secrets. And the game does this in two ways. You can aim your ball in the overworld and also slide tackle. So if in doubt, 2-foot your objective or smack your ball against it and it'll solve everything. Each area has its own specific challenges. In the beach area, you have to hit coconuts off the palm trees, whereas in the forest, you have to boot acorns off the trees. And even though a lot of these challenges were samey, from what I've played, the game is a nice length and doesn't ask for too much of your time to finish these challenges, so I found myself going out of my way to do them. While there is a quest tracker, they don't track on the map, which causes some frustration. If we take the acorn quest for example, I had to knock X amount of acorns from trees, but all I knew was that they were in the forest area, and I found most of them really easily, but then I circled around the forest for what seemed like 10 or 15 minutes to find the final one. And a lot of these find and destroy X amount of things had me doing the same, which I didn't like at all. I would have preferred if near the end of the quest, the game would mark a rough area where the final one is to avoid this issue. There was no combat to speak of, and while I would have loved smashing the ball at some enemies or slide tackling them, I enjoyed how relaxing the game was, and combat would have detracted from that. Even though every area has similar challenges, they have some unique ones too, my favourite being foot golf. I mean, they had to reference Golf Story in some way, and there's no better way to do it than with foot golf. Unfortunately, it's not the full 9 or 18 holes, but I had a lot of fun doing it. The reason for doing these challenges is to upgrade your characters, and you have a team of 5 and there are 4 stats you can upgrade. Strength, shooting, speed and energy. I pumped all my stats into my own character at the start and then he became an unstoppable force. Up until the game breaking bug, my team was way too good for the opponents and I steamrolled them. Now on to the football matches. So think of these as boss fights I guess. You have to play a cup after finishing the quest in one area to progress to the next. And I have to say, I never found arcade football games very fun. To me, they always feel like the NES soccer game and nothing more, with extremely basic mechanics. All you can do is pass, run, tackle and shoot, and there is little to no variation on this. As you progress, you unlock abilities like a fancy slide tackle or extra powerful shot, but from what I played in the football matches, they weren't all too useful. My biggest gripe was the inconsistency with the goalkeepers. Sometimes my opponent's keeper would save 4 shots in a row with no problem, others the ball would ricochet off the wall and roll about 1 km an hour into the net. And then my keeper would seemingly become prime Alisson Becker, saving every single shot that comes towards him, but then conceding a goal against a pop shot from the halfway line. Luckily the football mechanics are secondary to the fun open world gameplay, but these felt like the boring parts that I had to do to reach the fun parts, and I dreaded every single time I had to play football. Now on the technical side, Soccer Story looks gorgeous, with pixel art characters on a voxel based world, which is an art style I haven't seen before, but I absolutely loved it. It's an extremely vibrant game and every second of it was a visual treat. On the audio side, there's only one song really, and it gives off Animal Crossing New Horizon vibes. For the majority of the game, it opts for an ambient soundtrack like taking in the noise of a crowd or hearing the waves lap against a beach, and it creates a very chill atmosphere that works perfectly. As I said earlier, the open world quests are pretty samey, but there was something satisfying and relaxing about clearing off these objectives. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the bugs. So the game soft-locked on me multiple times, and it seems that skipping through dialogue caused it. Other times my football would get stuck in terrain, making it impossible for me to walk, but a quick press of Y sorted that out. Of course, there was the game-breaking bug, which is a massive, massive shame. It happened to me in the athletic zone once I finished the semi-finals of the cup, and it somehow teleported me to the final world, locked me out of progressing any further, and also spoiled the story, so on the whole, it's a really bad bug. Up until then, I would have recommended Soccer Story if you are looking for something like Golf Story. It had an amusing plot and some great references for us football fans out there, and the menial tasks were still quite fun. But where it shined in the open world gameplay were the unique challenges like foot golf and the biathlon race. The atmosphere in the game was so calm, and up until that bug I was having plenty of fun running around the world, finding different quests and challenges to complete. As I said, the football matches were boring, but luckily they were only a small part of the game. With all that being said, I can't in good conscience recommend this game right now, as you may also experience the bug too. If we get an update from the developer, I will be sure to let you know. But until then, I really appreciate you watching this review. Check out that video on the right, and I'll see you all on the next video.